If you accidentally stumbled upon this place, then congratulations. At this very moment, it is equivalent to being crushed by tens of thousands of cars. Over 150,000 tons of pressure would cause you to explode instantly, leaving absolutely nothing behind. You heard that right. Even the hardest part of your body could not escape the fate of being pulverized, because this is the 10,000 meter deep Mariana Trench. This place is a true forbidden zone for humanity. To this day, fewer than 60 humans have ever explored here. And he is one of them. James Cameron. In order to find inspiration for his movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, Cameron spared no expense, spending tens of millions of dollars to build a highly pressure-resistant private submersible for this expedition. Before this custom-made metal sphere was completed, it had to undergo rigorous testing involving extreme pressure and stress. The finished sphere can easily withstand an absolute pressure of 15,000 pounds. Manufacturing this metal sphere alone took an arduous 3 years to complete. The metal sphere would be placed inside this torpedo-like submersible. Even if the submersible itself gets crushed and deformed, the metal sphere can still bring Cameron back completely unscathed. Furthermore, every single component of the submersible was cast to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep sea. At the very bottom of the submersible, there are 2 hydraulic robotic arms that can be freely controlled. The robotic arms can not only help push the levers and clear sediment from the base, but also have 3D cameras mounted on their booms, one on each robotic arm. After all components were fully assembled, the submersible still had to undergo several months of deep-sea testing by the team, and for every single test, Cameron insisted on participating to personally feel the performance this torpedo delivered. Once everything was fully prepared, Cameron's team set out toward their final destination, the Mariana Trench. This submersible was named the Deepsea Challenger. After entering the water, all functions operated normally. Following a single command from Cameron, this 10,000-meter deep-sea journey began. A descent speed of 3 meters per second made it the fastest descending submersible in the world. But to reach the deep sea, the 10-kilometer deep Mariana Trench, it still required nearly 3 hours. When the submersible first began its descent, an excited Cameron noted that his heart rate had elevated slightly, but everything else was normal. When the Deepsea Challenger reached a depth of 600 meters, light had completely disappeared. This depth constantly maintains a boundless, endless darkness all year round. As the submersible continued to descend to 900 meters, a relatively large area of the seabed appeared below. He immediately looked around, and what caught his eye were unfamiliar creatures. They looked like jellyfish or something similar to a sea slug. This also included a sudden appearance of a massive sea cucumber. Soon after, some bioluminescent and bizarre-looking creatures appeared right before his eyes. After observing for a while, Cameron didn't linger much longer. He continued his journey further into the deep sea. When Cameron reached 3,600 meters, he had already broken the world record, and even to this day, no other private submersible has been able to reach such a depth. Soon, an octopus walking on the seabed entered his line of sight. Followed by many unknown creatures appearing, one after another. These strange-looking animals hardly seemed like they belonged on our planet, yet they existed vividly right before his eyes. As the Deepsea Challenger continued its descent toward the bottom of the trench, the submersible, under immense pressure, began to emit subtle creaking sounds. It felt as though Cameron had left a familiar world and entered another entirely alien planet. This dreamlike scene made Cameron marvel at the wonders of this deep sea. As he neared the bottom, he immediately turned on the searchlights on the side of the submersible. Upon reaching a depth of 11,000 kilometers, the final landscape of this destination was finally revealed. This was the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest ocean realm on our planet. Cameron gazed at this rarely reached endpoint, his eyes filled with profound calmness. He then confessed his love to his wife right here, 10,000 meters deep in the ocean. Merely reaching this place is a miracle in itself, and a truly history-making moment. However, the trench bottom defied everyone's expectations. There were no terrifying large predators here. On the contrary, no creatures could be seen at the bottom. Here, there was only a deathly silence and endless darkness. The sediments on the seabed have accumulated over millions of years, making their depth practically unfathomable. Cameron tried to find moving organisms within these muddy sediments. He continuously drove the submersible forward to explore. But what met his eyes was a vast white wasteland devoid of life. The bottom of the trench wasn't completely flat. Some areas were uneven, muddy hills. After traversing these hills, Cameron began extracting sediment samples from below. Within these samples, there were highly resilient superbacteria, which were absolutely crucial for his team's research. After completing the sampling, he showed off a watch that was previously attached to the robotic arm. Under such immense pressure, the mechanical watch was still ticking perfectly. Once all work and exploration were concluded, Cameron decided to return, dropping the submersible's weights. Relieved of its ballast, the Deepsea Challenger immediately shot up toward the surface. Like a rocket, it carried Cameron through layers of darkness. Soon, the light above grew brighter and brighter. Cameron successfully returned from the 10,000-meter deep trench bottom. This challenge not only pushed human progress forward, but also let the world know that the real Mariana Trench is not a gathering place for imaginary monsters. And this return also gave Cameron plenty of inspiration to create the sequel to the Avatar movie. He believed the adventure was worth it, as it continuously broadened his horizons and his knowledge. Cameron is not just a director, he is a truly brave explorer.